how do we continue to grow multidimensionally if we've completely ignored those factors that allowed us initially in our smallest forms of life to grow and evolve?
Well, so a certain amount of this comes down to, for me anyway, trusting the process because the techno solutionist thinking is what got us into this in the first place. And being someone who was trained in paleontology, I tend to look at everything that's going on now as through the lens of how living systems have navigated generalizable, like analogies of this kind of thing in the past. And Bob May's point was in living systems, what we see is that above a certain threshold, the space of possible outcomes so far exceeds the ability of any strategy as encoded in the anatomy and behavior of organisms within that ecology to predict that eventually they undermine themselves. And
Mhm.
so what happens is in a period of ecological collapse, which is not a binary thing, there are always constraints in complex systems. So what we've seen is we're at that point where we're seeing a curve, but it's like I have
There's
no
still things trying to lift that curve up to
yeah,
prevent
there
the
there
collapse
there is
itself.
still a floor to
Yeah.
this that I don't believe we're gonna fall through. The question of where that floor is for another time. But what what happens in mass extinctions or market collapses, et cetera, is that the specialist strategy becomes non-viable because the network of relationships in the ecology has been disrupted. What thrives are the strategies of generalists that were only assumed at great cost. Like like to your point, it's like, if you are someone who knows how to nap your own flint and generate your own electricity and grow your own food and you live in Manhattan, that's kind of weird.
It is weird.
But at the same time, Manhattan is one of the food deserts, incredibly dependent on supply chain infrastructure. And basically, there's always that moment in the horror movie where the weirdo conspiracy theorist that everyone thought was
Is
ridiculous
right.